So we're getting ready to go boondock for the very first time in our new rig. And as we're prepping the boondock stage, I am trying to get everything ready that we need to have ready. Boondock. And so one of the requirements that we're going to need is to have clean water. And we've got this RV is new to us, but it was a used RV, so it's a couple years old, coming up on a couple years old. And today I'm going to make an attempt to clean out the freshwater tanks. So why don't you come along with me and let's see how this gets done. All right, so what do we need to do to clean out the freshwater tanks in the RV? If you read your manufacturer's recommendations, I suggest following those, but I'm going to kind of let you know what we're going to do that's a little bit different than what the manufacturer says, because we're kind of weird people. So call me strange, but you kind of knew I was strange anyways to begin with. So what the manufacturer recommends is that you need to siphon the water into your fresh tank that you're going to use as a cleaning solution. And so they recommend 1/4 cup of bleach per gallon of water as a solution. And so what they recommend is 1 gallon of the solution per 15 gallons of the of your freshwater tank. So for us, what that means is, if I've done my math right, always questionable, what that means is that we are going to need 8 gallons of the solution. Now, I mentioned a little bit ago that we're kind of weird. We're kind of weird people. As weird people, I don't like to drink bleach. And to use bleach as a cleaning solution for something that I'm going to drink, I'm not really excited about. I say just use a bunch of water and rinse it out until it's all clear and you can't smell the bleach anymore. But I'm just not big on bleach, period. And so what we're going to do instead is we're going to do a solution with vinegar and salt and then an essential oil blend to hopefully kill all the bad things and clean them all out. I'll come back and we'll show you exactly what that looks like. What I've done is I've taken this igloo cooler here and I've sanitized it, except for the dead moth in there that just fell in there this morning. But I washed this out really well, cleaned it out real well, and then side of it says that it's a 40-quart cooler, which Google told me that's about 10 gallons. Don't give me a hard time. You would have looked it up too. Okay, so Google tells me that's about 10 gallons, and so I know that I need to fill 8 gallons of solution into my tank, but I figure since I'm using a cleaner solution with just vinegar and salt and essential oils, that I could put a little bit extra in there without worrying too much about the extra above the 50 parts per million that they talk about having to sanitize. So anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be filling this up with water and salt and moth and some vinegar and essential oils, and then we're going to be putting it into the tank. So let's try to figure out how to get it in the tank from now. We're on day 2. Now you may have noticed the picture of the freshwater tank release valve. I can see them in a meeting where they're talking about the valve, and they try to put it in a spot where nobody's going to accidentally pull on it. And so they put it in maybe the most inconvenient place in the entire underbelly of the whole of the RV. And so we're going to try to get at that right now. And if you're like me and you don't like crawling under there in the prospect of having water falling on your head, then what you do is you get somebody to help you. So I'd like to introduce you to my son. All right, Noah, you ready to go?
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. Now look, hang on. When you pull that, there's a chance that water is going to come out of it. So kind of scooch a little bit up the hill before you pull it. Then pull it and go. All right, and you can just leave it for a little bit. Come on over. That wasn't too bad, huh? No, that wasn't too bad either. You all right? So this is my RV's convenience center. That's a great marketing name, by the way. Good job, Highland Ridge. Up here is the instructions for what to do to, if you're pumping or you're using city water, if you're trying to fill up your tank, winterizing, water heater bypass, whatever it is you're trying to do. You just set up the valves in different places depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So what we're gonna do for the tank fill in just a little bit is we're gonna slide everything to the right. Now this little black thing right here is our big friend, and that's the siphon that we're gonna pull the water in from the cooler. So that is where the water is gonna come in. We're gonna use the water pump to siphon in water into the holding tank, and that's gonna allow us then to put our solution into the tank, which was a big thing. I was trying to figure out how to pour the water into the tank, and just a little research and reading my manual, and figured out that this is a siphon that's going to help us accomplish what we're trying to do. I don't know the math. I read the math for using Clorox. If you remember, it was 1/4 of a cup per gallon of water to create a solution, and then in that solution you're going to add 1 gallon of solution per 15 gallons in your freshwater tank. Now, I'm not using Clorox. I'm using vinegar and salt and essential oils, and so I don't know what the ratio would be for that. I'm assuming it would be something similar, but I'm going to add a little bit more vinegar. Then I would have the chlorine just because. One, I want to make sure it kills, and two, I want to make sure that I'm not as worried about drinking vinegar and salt as I am about drinking Clorox. So here what we're going to do is I'm going to have 8 gallons of water, which would equate to 4 cups of the vinegar. So we're going to add 4 plus a little bit for good measure. So Noah's here, my trusty handy dandy assistant. I'm going to move my laptop so that it's not downwind of the water here. You going to take the lid off? Well, you can pour it with the lid on. Why don't you do that? Why don't you just pour it with the lid on? Just carefully. A little more. It's probably good. All right.
I need a little bit more.
Okay, go ahead and pour that in. Bueno. Okay, good. Pour that in. All right, you do another cup, 1 more cup, so half of it. All right, if you like Noah's work, then give him a thumbs up on the video. Thumbs up, Noah. Half the bottle. No, it's been a couple days of each other. Just keep running it. Uh-oh.
Noah had a big
Don't run
old
into
thing on
people.
his knee.
Oh, it's out of hand.
You want your monster truck?
He took a quick turn on the gravel. Whoa! So I'm here at my family's house with all of my family, my parents, my brother, sister-in-law, their kids. My other brother and his wife are on their way. And what am I doing? I'm working. Because what do you do when you're self-employed? When do you work? You always work. So, welcome back. Maybe you notice that the scenery has changed again. So, when you're living in life full-time in an RV and you're homeschooling, working a business, and you're actually in town to see your family, things just keep getting pushed back and pushed back. So, this is day 2, and then tomorrow will be day 3 of the process of cleaning out the freshwater tanks. Here's what we got now. So we have salt and our On Guard blend of oils, and then we've got our vinegar, is all set up inside. Our mixture is ready to go. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill it up with water. I've got in my cart at Amazon a flow meter, a way for me to measure how much water is going into my tanks. But right now I don't have anything like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up my 10-gallon water cooler that you may remember. And as I fill that 10-gallon water cooler up, I'm going to time how long it takes for me to fill that up so that I get some kind of a ballpark idea of how long it's going to take for me to fill up my tank. Because right now, I don't have any idea. So it's basically going to take me a while to fill that tank up. I know it's a slow process, but I don't have any idea what that process looks like. So I know where my overflow hoses are, so I can keep an eye on those to make sure that it doesn't overflow. But really what I want to try to do is I want to try to get my solution in there and fill up as much of that tank as I can to try to get the sanitization. I think I may have just made up a new word. To try to sanitize as much of the tank as I possibly can. So that's my goal right now, is to fill that thing up and then to let that solution sit in there for a little bit. So I'm actually going to let it sit overnight, and I'll do the drain and then the refill tomorrow morning before we head out of town. So here we are looking at the bucket. Now you may hear in the background the sound of the coyotes off in the distance, which is kind of fun. Got our bucket. Got some solution in there with salt, vinegar, and the On Guard essential oil blend. And so that is ready to go. Now I'm just going to fill it up the rest of the way with the hose. Again, we're going to time that, see how long that takes so that I can check and see about how long I should expect it to take to fill up the tank itself. So the water pressure here appears to be off the charts. So, ready, here we go. Alright, 30 seconds and we're almost done. So you remember our time that we had coming straight out of the city water? Well, it's a little bit different coming through the filter system. So right now I'm at 3 minutes 15 seconds and I'm still not full. So check back later. So the 10 gallons there took 4 minutes to fill, which means that the 85 gallons in the big tank is going to take 40 minutes to fill, assuming my math is right. Occasionally it is. So this is where everybody gets to laugh at my lack of a clue. But so now I've got the pump turned on. My understanding is that it's supposed to suck up this water here through the hose that's attached. But clearly it's not working. Or if it is working, it's not working fast enough for my liking, because I can't really see the level of the water changing. And yeah, no water's trickling out of that hose. So, I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Let me see what I'm doing wrong. Listen, I know this isn't right, but basically I just stuck this hose on the end here and turned the switch, and it's starting to siphon, but the problem now is that I got to hold both ends of the hose. So I don't know how I'm going to hold this end on here and the other end on there and make this work, but wish me luck. Slowly but surely, well, slowly, the water is draining out of here. Now, I don't know, color me silly, but I thought when they said a siphon hose, they just meant a hose that you were using as a siphon. But clearly I was wrong, and what siphon hose is a special kind of hose. I'm kind of having to rig this to make it work. I'm having to stand here pressing this hose up against it, up against the siphon, while the other end runs down into my little water tank here, my solution. It looks like I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So now, dealing with the issue that other folks have mentioned, that once the overflow starts to happen, then now all of a sudden you got the siphon happening, and so it's siphoning water out. So I get to crawl in there and stick my thumb over that and try to keep the water from coming out of there. Here we go. So I was down there, my finger on the hole, trying to stop it for 10 minutes.